This is our Wednesday night channeling class, and the title is called Why Wait? And I'm not sure who is...
Hey, what's the to-go start? What you going to do?
I start channeling by writing. I wrote this morning, part of it, and I wrote some a while ago. That gets the flow going. And then I read this, and then we turn the lights down, and somebody else starts talking using my voice box. And this is an odd way to do it, but this is the way that I do it. Whoever it is says, now is the only time you can do anything. Now is the only time there is. In true reality, now is no time. Time is an illusion. Time denotes movement from one second to another. Now is eternity. All that is exists now. In the trap of duality that man has created, the belief in good and evil, time and space, and all the other concepts of duality has been so ingrained in the thinking patterns of mankind that for most it is the only reality they know, when in truth it is the height of illusion. To be free of the trap of illusion while in the physical, you must learn to live above and beyond the illusion of duality in consciousness, and at the same time continue playing the role you agreed before you incarnated. This is no easy task. You will grade yourself on your ability to do it. You will also grade yourself on the effortless effort you apply to do it. On this stage that eradicates, I got caught up in something else. Let me start all over with that sentence. There is a script in your play on this stage that eradicates the concept of past and future, giving you the opportunity to live blissfully in the ever-present now. Now, let's have a quiet time before we start. Let's close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Be at peace within yourself. Relax your body and your mind. And allow yourself to lift your thoughts to a much higher realm of consciousness, thinking of this circle as a circle of light, and knowing that each one of you in this circle is as much a part of the contact and the channel as the one who speaks. Use your inner image and see the light of this circle reaching up very high, and those on the higher dimensions of divine love and light are reaching down to make contact with us. Open your mind and your heart to divine love, and all is well. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don, coming to you from these realms of love and light. There is a beautiful soul here this evening that has been with you before, that did not wish to give a name, but will bring the lesson to you this evening. We all wish you well here this evening, and would have you know that there are many, many more than your visible eye can see. And we would have you to send them love and welcome them into our circle of light and love. I release now to this being of light. Send love to this one and to the contact. Good evening, my dear ones. It is indeed a pleasure to seek this circle out and find such beautiful souls with open minds and open hearts. It is indeed a pleasure to be in your midst and feel your vibrations and know that you are sincere in your efforts to raise your consciousness. And in that sincerity, let me say to you that learning to live in the ever-present now is the easiest way to raise your consciousness. It is not easy to learn to do this, but you can learn to live in the present. You can learn to turn off everything but this room and this moment right now. And you can learn to be the channel for life to flow through continuously in this present moment. As you understand and recognize that you exist and live because the life force from the highest being that is called God is flowing his life current through you. Some do not understand this and do not even think about it. They know that they can think, and they know that they can breathe, and they have a body, and they can feel, and they are aware of their five senses. But my dear ones, there are so much, much more to life than this, and this is why we come to you in these circles of enlightenment. We come to you to give you the enlightenment that you can comprehend, the understanding that your minds are open for you are children of the Most High God, whether you know it or not. You did not just happen to be. You have always been and always will be. You are an eternal being. You cannot be destroyed. Your body, this physical shell that you operate in, can be eliminated or die, as you say, but that is not you. The entity that you are is one with all life, the life force that exists throughout all of life, the universe. And you are one with this ocean of life. As you know this and understand it, then you have nothing to be concerned about what happened in the past, because no one condemns you for anything that you think might be wrong. Only you do this, and you do an injustice to yourself. And it is not healthy, if we want to use this word, to be concerned about the future, because the future is an illusion also, as well as the past. The future does not exist. Tomorrow, as you think of it, when it gets here, will be today. And yesterday is only a memory in your mind if you care to remember it. It is best left in the past, except for those things that you learned, those things that give your soul the understanding to bring more light into your awareness. Pure light, light that is life-giving. When you understand that the word light is a symbol of understanding and wisdom, then you see, when you bring light into your mind through your inner image, your imagination, the magic genie within you, as your teachers called it, then you bring in the ability to learn more. When you let yourself be negative and confused, you bring in no light, which you call darkness. But darkness is just the absence of light. Or you bring in just a little light, I should say, because there is no time that you do not have any light. Saying this, I would have you know that when you desire to have a better life, when you desire to lift your consciousness to a higher level, the opportunity is always there. The opportunity is now. And now is the only time that you can do anything. And most on your planet put things off into the future, and so they never get done, or they get halfway done. And maybe some time, as you call it, we have to speak in your language that is intertwined with the concept of time and space. So be not concerned about this, because we do have to communicate with you. Sometime they may awaken some part of the script of the play that you have already written before you were born, may call for you to awaken. Now you still have free will, and the Father has given everyone the freedom to be whatever they want to be. The Father has given everyone free will to choose to be whatever you decide you want to be. And you can choose to be in the now and live in the present, or you can choose to live in illusion, the past or the future. They are both illusion. They are both non-existent. They do not exist. And when you spend your consciousness in this non-existent place, you are wasting your life force by dissipating it. Most of you do not realize this and do not understand it. But as you grow through the power of enlightenment and wisdom and the divine love of God, then can you understand, then can you bring your thoughts to this present moment. Right now, this moment, bring your thoughts to this room and to this voice and to what it is saying. Allow yourself to not drift off into what you did today or what you should do tomorrow. All is here and now. Nothing exists except this present moment. Yes, it appears to be that the past existed, and it appears to be that tomorrow may come, but it does not. And the past is gone. It is illusion. When you awaken to this, then you are free from all of what you call karma. You are free to be whatever you want to be in your consciousness. When I say you're free to be whatever you want to be, most of your minds went to the physical world and to, I want to be a teacher, I want to be this, I want to be that. That is in the future. You're free to be now in your consciousness, in the bliss consciousness, feeling the bliss consciousness this moment. When you tune in to this higher dimension of light, then you feel the higher vibrations of God that is flowing down to you at all times. You do choose what level that you vibrate on. The physical level is one of the lowest. You do not have to remain in consciousness on this physical level. You can leave your body and go ahead with playing your role while raising your consciousness to a very high level and being in that bliss consciousness, of feeling that ecstasy, the beautiful feeling of life at its highest point. In one of Donald's lessons, there is a saying about what is the most important thing. What is the most important thing for you? And the answer is more life. More life. Some on your planet have the life force just trickling through them in a very small pace, in a very small way. Like the electricity comes into your house here, and something has happened to your air conditioning that has shut it off. And so you do not have the air conditioning. Now, whenever you think negative thoughts, this shuts off some of the life force, just as the current of electricity has something wrong with it that has shut off your air conditioning. And I promise you that I did not do this on purpose. But it is a good example. And so you do not feel as well when you do not have the air conditioning. And whenever you shut off part of your life force, you feel low, you feel down, and that's a good example of feeling low and down. Your slang words come through with great communication, not even knowing it consciously. When you feel high, and I do not mean on drugs, but when you feel high, when you have this beautiful feeling of the bliss consciousness and the ecstasy of life, that more life force flowing through you can give you, then can you know more of God. Then can you have a better personal relationship with God, for you are closer to Him. You are closer to the Father, Mother, God, and all of His kingdom is there waiting for you to move into in consciousness. Now, some of you are wondering why I continue to say in consciousness, and maybe you do not understand what consciousness means, but it is where you live. You do not live on planet Earth or the Phoenix area or even your physical body. you live in your consciousness, and your thought patterns is a part of your consciousness. And wherever you are, and your level of thinking, and your level of understanding is a part of your level of your consciousness. Now, your consciousness has come from eternity, and you bring some of it in with this incarnation. And that is why every one of you are different, because you have had different experiences in the past. And so this all enters into it and is a much larger picture that I can paint to you in the limited part of your language, the limited language that you have. You, my dear ones, have great, great opportunity at this particular time in the history of your planet, for it is the most opportune time to be in the physical, and some of you have heard this many times, but I tell you again and again, take advantage of learning and growing and expanding your consciousness. Take advantage of bringing in the light of understanding, for it is all there within you. You do not have to go anywhere to get it. It is all there within you. All you have to do is go within and ask for it and turn loose of the illusion of this plane. There are many illusions besides the past and the future, but at least start with turning loose of the illusions of the past and the future and go within, living the present moment in the awareness of God, in His consciousness. When you live in the present moment, my dear ones, you are living very close to the fullness of God's consciousness. It is very difficult to learn to live in the present moment because you are used to operating on several levels of your mind, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your superconscious mind, as Donald explains it. That most of you do not even realize what is going on in the subconscious. And until you get this part of yourself under the control of your conscious awareness and bring down the enlightenment from the superconscious level of yourself, then can you tune into those higher dimensions and bring the ecstasy and live in it continuously. I know that continuously denotes time, but I had to use your language. You live now, and you exist now. Do you not? Yes. And you see, this baby exists now. It does not exist in the past and the future, and it wants what it wants now. It does not think of those around it, or it does not think of what came before it or what will come tomorrow. And your master teacher said, unless you become as little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And this is truth. This is truth in reality, my dear ones. As you move through this incarnation, as you learn to understand more, and as you raise your consciousness by learning to live the fullest in the moment, live the fullest in the moment, you will understand that life is a beautiful, beautiful experience. But when you allow yourself to dwell on these lower dimensions by getting caught up in the illusions of worry and doubt and confusion, then you are just barely existing. I say these things not to insult you, but to enlighten you. I say them in love, divine love, unconditional love. For there are many, many on these dimensions, and in this room right now that your physical eyes do not see, who love you dearly, who love you more than you can even begin to comprehend. Now is the only time that you can return this love. Now is the only time there is. I will not continue too long because of your shortness of electricity, and allow you at this time, here we go again with time, don't we? Allow you at this moment in consciousness, a better way of saying it, to ask questions. We ask you not to ask personal questions or about the stock market or things like that, but things of a spiritual nature, things that will help you in your spiritual quest. And so at this time, allow yourself to ask questions. Did Donald bring any water this evening? Yes, thank you.
I have a question. I was wondering what is the influence on the, sometimes the channel sounds kind of sad. I have quite a few of the tapes I listen to.
Sad?
Sad, and sometimes it's real energetic, and like tonight it almost sounds a little shaky.
Shaky.
What influence is it? Is it the consciousness of all the people that are here tonight?
Do any of you do others have this concept?
I thought it sounded forceful and modestly, slightly rapid to me. So I guess I got a definite.
Did anyone else have a concept of shaky?
I didn't mean shaky as unsteady. Rather, like maybe what Bill was saying, it was coming out faster than it was. In that respect, not that it was unstable.
You repeat the statement again, please.
I meant shaky in more like what Bill said, where it was coming out faster, I think, than it was.
Yes. Well, we are all different, my dear. And, the channel is just a channel, like a water pipe. And it doesn't change whether you send a whole lot of water through it or whether you send a trickle through it. This channel does the best he can. And sometimes he is up to par more, and sometimes he is not up to par more. And so we work with him and through him as best we can. And when you see a difference, it is because the difference in the entity who is speaking through the channel and the channel itself, which includes all of you. You do not realize that every one of you are as much a part of the channel as the one who speaks. Those who sit in the circle of light lend your vibrations to this contact. Your presence is here, is it not? And your life force is emanating from you. And so it is all one circle. It is not just the one who speaks. So you cannot blame just the one who speaks, or you cannot blame the one such as I, who is speaking from this side, or even the baby.
So, what is your name?
My name would not be pronounceable in your language, my dear. You can call me Tom if you like, or Harry, or Jim. A name, as Alva said, is just a peg you hang your personality on. And so, what would you like to call me? Tom. All right. I'll be Tom for you this evening. Now, do any of you have any questions for Tom or comments? I appreciate your comment. I did not mean to sound to scold you. I was told that it sounded a little like that, my dear Mary. Any other comments or questions?
This concept of the now, including all time, is very difficult for me. Are there any exercises that we can use to better understand that concept? Are there ways that we can preclude thinking about the future or the past? Or is it just a matter of if we concentrate positively on the now, it excludes everything else?
I would like to feed you back your first statement, this concept of the now and all time. What did you mean by all time?
Well, if all eternity exists in the now,
there is no time. And
there is no time, there is no future, there is no past.
Yes, so there is no all time. See?
Yeah.
That is a misstatement.
Right.
Yes. The exercise is to be here now, to live the moment of what you are doing at the moment to the fullest. The master teacher said, do what you find at hand to do with all your might. And if you're doing what you find at hand with all your might, then you are not thinking of something on the left of you or on the right of you or yesterday or tomorrow. You're giving it all you've got. You see, and when you give something all you've got and it's flowing through, you get more. As a water spigot, when you turn on a little bit, you get a trickle, but when you turn it on full, you get a lot. And it's the same thing with when you give of yourself to the fullest that you possibly can this moment. You are receiving a lot because you're giving a lot. Giving and receiving are the same. There is no difference. Because in order to give, you have to receive. In order to receive, you have to give. Think of the water now. And the water faucet, to give water, it has to give. To receive, I should say. And it receives by the amount you turn the spigot on. Now, think of yourself as a spigot. How much are you going to turn yourself on? You want just a little dribble come through? Or do you want a lot? Do you want to live life to the fullest? Do you want to enjoy life, to bring in much more of the essence of God in life and the beauty and the joy, and to experience life to the fullest that you have? And I promise you, if you do this, the next moment you'll have more to give. Here we are talking about the future again, are we not? Yes. But your language does not give me the opportunity to do otherwise. Did this help your understanding?
Yes. And some good comments along the way.
Yes.
Good concepts.
Are there other questions this evening?
I have a question. Being that we have to deal in the physical, part of living in your consciousness, but still going through the physical, we need to provide for our physical bodies.
Yes. That's a part of your play.
Is what you're saying, if we live each moment to its fullest, that we will be provided for, or it will be there when we need it, and worrying so much about the future and always having to put a little away for a rainy day.
This is a very touchy subject for you on your plane, and I will not make too much of a comment about savings for your so-called future. You have the concept that you are growing old and that something may happen in the future that you're going to need some extra supply. And until you give up that concept, you are going to need it. But you can give it up. You see, take the master's life, the master teacher. Did he put anything away for tomorrow? No, he didn't. He drew things directly from the source when he needed it, and he fed the multitudes with the lad's lunch of 1 fish and 2 loaves. And I tell you, until you get out of the concept of this illusion realm, you are living in the illusion. And fear is the biggest illusion. You see, insurance, and I'm not saying to not get insurance because you have some physical law that says you have to. I'm saying that they are based in fear, and savings is based in fear. I'm not saying that you should not save until you reach the consciousness when you know where your source comes from, when you truly know it, and you don't know it until you live it. You might know about it, you might have heard this lesson, you might read it in a book, but until you are able to make it a definite, ingrained part of your consciousness, then you do not know it. Do you understand this?
Yes, I do.
Yes. This is an important issue. It's very important. I would not mislead you. I would not have you stop saving. I would not have you stop your insurance or whatever your physical plane and the play on your stage is made up of. You have certain rules that you go by. And so the master said, agree quickly with thine adversary, lest you be cast into prison, did he not? And so do not go against the grain of life, even on this plane of illusion. But go through your play, but in your consciousness, my dear ones, learn to live up here. Learn to, and when I point up here, it's not a place. It's a higher vibration. It's a higher frequency. It's an understanding. It's bringing in more light. It's bringing in more water into the water pipe. It's turning on the faucet to a much higher frequency, and you're receiving more. And when you receive that light of understanding, you have examples in your world, and what you think of as the past is many who have no formal education to speak of, who have become millionaires and whatever, you see. But they were tapped in to the source, and they received it from within themselves, because it was not on the physical plane before, was it? Now, does this make sense to you? Yes. I am an outspoken entity, as Donald is, and our vibrations match up pretty well, because his nature is to be outspoken when he is not too timid. Would there be other questions this evening?
I'm waiting for the time when all our supplies will come from the source. Correct. So you have to cook.
Let me stop you immediately. by saying the title of this class is Why Wait?
I'm not waiting. I'm just here.
Well, this is the words that you use, my dear one. And see, it's such an ingrained habit pattern that we wait and wait and wait and wait, and we're still waiting.
I feel a lot about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
How many incarnations, how many thousands and millions of years have you been waiting?
I can't count the millions of years.
Yeah.
I remember that far back.
Well, I tell you, it's been a long time as you think of in time, and that's the only way that I can communicate with you, is that you have been waiting and waiting, and now is the only time that you can awaken. And when you leave this room and you have heard this message, and even if you have understood everything about it, if you leave this room and start living in the past and the future, it means nothing to you. Now, I do not mean to be so sarcastic about this, but I am trying to communicate with you so that you understand that you are beings that have been brainwashed into thinking in these terms. And until you can undo this and start living for the now and living it to the fullest and enjoying life to the fullest, you will still be waiting. Are there other questions this evening, if you're not afraid to ask questions after my short comments?
You can't ever see it once.
Why not? It's all here.
They mean that you can't spit that part.
Yes, you can, because you are everything. You see, your disbelief limits you. And I do not mean to jump upon you, Annabelle, because you are a very dear soul, but if you think that you can't, you can't. You see, you're a co-creator with God, and you create your life as it is. You can have everything, because everything is yours. The whole kingdom of God is being held out to you at all times. And all you need to do is reach out and take it. But as long as you hold on to the illusionary world that you have built up so many, many years, for such a long, long time as you think of it, then you are brainwashed into believing in the illusions instead of the truth. And you have to give up the first step towards reaching the kingdom of God is giving up. Giving up the old beliefs. Giving up the belief in illusion. And we do not expect you to do this tonight all at once, Annabelle. But you could.
I have a comment to make.
Yes.
I've been coming to the center, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years, and I don't know how it happened, but my husband has been coming for a while too, but we bought a house, our expenses are more expensive, and I lost my job, but I have a lesser paid job, but we get more of our bills paid off now. And it appears that our expenses are more, we have more money than we ever has before. And we were just talking about this with a friend of ours about 2 days ago, how it just happened because what we think happened is we were at least willing to accept the ideas that Don was giving to us, even if we couldn't live by them or believe them, we were just open to them. And somehow along the line, it became part of our consciousness.
Yes. Yes, it is. And it is. And it will continue to grow if you allow it. If you allow it. Now, let's think about just what you said. You're talking about money and physical things. These are the least of life because they are still a part of the illusion. But it makes you more comfortable in the physical world, and it's a demonstration, and it's good. And it's much easier to demonstrate the physical things than it is to change your character traits, to change your thoughts about life. When you learn to love yourself, you have come a long, long way. When you love yourself, you love God. When you love yourself, you love life, all of life. This brings in more light of understanding and more love from God than anything else that you can do. My dear ones, in order to love yourself, you're going to have to give up those past memories of what you think you did wrong. You were brainwashed into thinking that this is good and this is evil. There is no good and there is no evil. And if you still believe in this concept of duality, then you will remain in the planes of illusion.
You'll also have to give up the illusion of things that were done to you. Forgiveness.
What?
Think that you have done. Is that
Partly.
Sometimes you're responsible for the things that happen.
That is what I was going to say. Annabelle, you're correct. You brought these things upon yourself. You create your own reality, as the modern terminology is. And whatever was done to you, you created yourself. And this is very difficult for you to understand, because it seems like an innocent baby like this is sometimes left in a trash bin. You know, you're not taking into account of life eternal. And that baby is just an entity that exists from eternity, that had no beginning, and has had many experiences. And look what that baby, if you've been keeping up on your news, which I have lately in order to speak with you tonight, look what that baby has accomplished for itself. It paid off some karma, but it drew world attention to it, and it will have a beautiful life because of this. You see, all these things that you think of as bad can be turned around into the enlightenment of truth. I do not intend to use the word good, because there is no good and there is no bad. There is no good, there is no evil. Life is, period. God is, period. And when you learn to understand this, then you're free from these concepts, and you stop creating these kind of conditions for yourself to go through another play and another scene at another time.
You just got to stop thinking.
You have to stop thinking of the past and the future. You have to stop thinking of good and evil, time and space, all the dualities. Fear is the biggest, the largest, and that largest is another duality. Fear is the instigator of more illusion than anything else. when I speak through Donald, I use his vernacular and his language as he speaks, and I sometimes have to correct it. You are an interesting group this evening. Are there any other questions that you would care to ask?
Would you elaborate upon what they just said about fear being helping about illusion?
Yeah, it is the only thing that you have that brings about illusion. Think of what we've been speaking of tonight as living in the present. Fear of yesterday, what you did yesterday. Fear of what might happen tomorrow. Fear of what other people might think of you. Fear if your car breaks down. Fear if your house burns up. How many other fears can you think of? A lot of them, can't you? You see, all the illusionary concepts are based in this one word.
So is taking a risk a good thing to do?
Speak again louder.
Taking a risk is a good thing to do.
Is taking a risk a good thing to do? Yes. You see, if you will think about what you have said, you're talking about fear. Is that not true? Yes, it is. Trusting in God and life is the thing to do. Living life to the fullest and knowing who you are. Let's eliminate that word trust. Knowing who you are, then you do not have to take risks, because there is no risk in life, because you cannot be eliminated. If you have it coming through something that you have put into motion in your past on this plane of illusion that's under the law of karma, that is not a law of God, but a law, man-made law that you have created, then you are at risk a lot, because you have created these conditions that you draw to yourself from your actions and your thoughts. But when you give up fear, let's just bring it down to that one word. When you give up fear and start loving, that would be the answer. The fear is the only so-called problem. There are no problems, really. But in your plane of illusion, you have created this gigantic word called problems. And it comes from fear, another illusion. But when you bring in divine love, and that's unconditional love, it's not physical man and woman love, or friendship love, which you fall out of friendship a lot, whatever. When you have unconditional love, without conditions on it, then you bring in the power of life, the power of God, and you bring it in to yourself and all around you and all the conditions around you. And if you can live in the moment, then there's nothing. Do any of you have anything to be afraid of this moment?
How?
I don't. So, why not live in the moment? This baby is happy because it doesn't know about the past and the future. And it's just itself. Hey, it's life. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. But as it grows older and has some good parents, but it may pick up some ideas from school or some other place about fear, then it could take on some different concepts. But at this point in consciousness, I should say, this dear one is being taken care of dearly and properly and loved greatly by its parents and many others. And it doesn't fear to cry out when it wants to cry out. It doesn't fear to laugh when it wants to laugh. It just is. And if you can become as this child is in consciousness, and that means eliminating those fears of the past and the future, of good and evil, and all the other garbage, then you can have the fullness of life. Do you remember when you were a child how much energy you had, how much life force, how much more life force was flowing through you? Even those who are mistreated and abused, they feel life more abundantly. Is this not true? Yes, you remember. But as you accumulate more of the concepts of illusion, then you're weighted down, see, to these lower planes, and it drags you down. Now, let's get back to what Bill asked about. What can we do about it? You can give it some thought and decide if you want a better life, if you want to live in the moment, if you want to reach that state of consciousness that's called bliss and move on up into the consciousness of ecstasy. If you have that desire strong enough, then you will discipline yourself enough to rearrange the thinking patterns in your mind and bring about that level of consciousness. Are there other questions this evening? And let us call this an evening, and we will see if Donald can get a hold of the right person to fix the air conditioning for tomorrow night's class and next Wednesday night's class. If those come, even if they do come, they'll be in the moment, will they not? Yes. You are a good class, a good circle of light, and I have perhaps stimulated you a little more than I should through confrontation a little bit, and it was not my intentions, my dear ones. My intentions are pure love that God is. God bless each one of you, and good evening.